Welcome to the Salt Circle Podcast. We're here to catch 'em all.
Oh, right into it. Guess what we're talking about, guys?
Oh, The
Digimon.
Adventures of Ash Ketchum-All.
Ash Ketchum. Ash, middle name Gata.
No, we're talking about Pokemon, all things.
Yeah, just in
all
general.
different kinds of things. Pokemon. It's a multimedia behemoth
Yeah.
thing. It's right out the gate. It was. It's very popular, you know. I've heard.
Oh,
some
I
people like
thought you were
Pokemon.
still talking about our podcast until the last little bit there. Okay. I'm like,
Definitely
wow,
not.
behemoth. That's
No.
okay. Yeah, no, I'm on the page now. This makes more sense. Yeah, no, it was it had a good start. It had an okay start.
It was
A few people enjoyed it.
Pretty popular. So yeah, do you want to start with how you learn Pokemon, or do you want me to start? Because I can go start kind of right from the beginning.
I mean, yeah, you can start. You can do it.
Yes. So like the way I learned about Pokemon was Toys R Us sent out promotional VHS tapes. So like I watched it and saw like a bit of the show before it had started airing. So I was super hyped for it airing because it looked pretty cool. And there was a video game and I wanted the video game. I remember my dad had to go get it in New York because it was sold out in a lot of places. It was a thing.
Yeah.
I didn't expect it to be... It was like the thing I discovered for myself just because of this ad that was shipped to my door, which was never happened for any other thing. Like, that was the weird... Like, Pokemon's the only thing that was like that for, but that was a thing that happened. I think they at least knew that... The thing I'll say about how 4Kids handled Pokemon is they knew they had a big thing and they pushed it correctly, whereas other things they fucked up. But
Yeah, like Kid Muscle. Nothing? Really?
Bo. I've watched Kid I don't care about Kid Muscle. It's a thing that exists in the world.
Zero. It was the first thing that sprung to mind.
Yu-Gi-Oh! It's like another one of theirs, but
Yeah.
it's fine.
So you were like balls deep from the get-go.
I was balls deep from the get-go, and the fact... So it was like the one time where I was ahead of the curve, because usually the fad would happen, and I would be like, I'm too cool for it. Like, I would... Fucking shit you're all like. And then as soon as everyone got sick of it, that's when I'd like it.
Yeah.
That's my usual
yeah.
go-to move.
How else are you gonna do it?
But Pokemon I happened to discover on my own first. So then when it became popular, it was like, this is weird. The thing I like, everyone else likes too.
So you
up
were
with that?
also a filthy hipster.
I don't know. I just liked it, man. It wasn't about anyone else. I didn't care about if anyone else liked it or not, really. Although the benefit of other people liking it was all the lies on the playground. All the
Oh, like
schoolyard
fucking
lies.
Guys have
It's
figured
like-
out how to go to the other... There's like more areas
Yeah,
in the
man.
game, but you have to... The one I was told, and I think completed. Like, I think I did it, or maybe I messed up. I don't know. I was told that you had to like go on the SSN, and you only use cut on everything. Like you had to beat everyone on the ship, all the shit, and you could only use cut. And then if you go like talk to the captain or whatever, it does like you get a little thing, and you get to go to a whole new area, like a different continent or whatever.
Sexy.
It was wrong. You could not do that.
Weird.
Yeah.
Weird. You know, the one I heard was like a friend of it was from a friend of a friend or something, and it was about like finding the secret area under Bill's lab where you could fuse Pokemon together and get special fusion Pokemon.
Yeah. I also there was a good one about and this is actually weird for me because like I played like I think Silver was my first Pokemon game.
Gotcha.
And then like Crystal was the first one where I was like Silver I really enjoyed. I played a ton of it, and then Crystal I was like young enough to not, like now it's like, okay, we have game 1, game 2, which are functionally the same, and then we have game 3 that kind of mashes them together, whatever, that stuff. I didn't really like know that yet because it was my first Pokemon. Like I didn't know how this worked.
Yeah.
And it was still like a new-ish thing. It's not like it was super established, but got Crystal, and that's like the one that I went hard in. And then went back and played Yellow. So I like was still getting this bullshit even in Gen 2 about Gen 1. Like, hey, if you go to Cinnabar Island and you have Mewtwo with you and you do all this crazy shit, you can find this thing and you can evolve Mewtwo.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Into Mew 3. There was no Mew 3.
Fuck.
Fucking disappointing. Way more disappointing than the other region thing. Yeah. No,
The craziest thing was the stuff that was real, though.
like actual
like,
stuff or like glitch stuff?
Like the actual glitch stuff that was in the game that
Yeah,
you could
yeah.
do. Like that's my favorite part about that is that there was some fucked up stuff that you could do in Pokemon. Like you talk to this guy, you fly to Cinnabar Island, you surf on the side, this one side. Oh, suddenly you're fighting Pokemon over level 100 and you can catch them and shit. And that's how you do the item duplication glitch or catch, some random Pokemon over level 100. And then, if you level up those Pokemon over level 100, they level up to level 100, but then have infinite HP.
Well, and
And I soft-locked my game once by trying to beat the Elite Four with a
hell yeah.
infinite HP
else you gonna do it?
Starmie that got horn drilled.
Oh boy.
And then I just sat there and watched that health bar drain for a while. It was pretty great.
I mean, Missing No, the big one. Or do you?
Yeah,
do
the
you
Missing
call
No.
Missing No. Okay, I've met a few weird people who have like, because it's technically like missing number. They call it missing number. Like,
Yeah, I think of it because they're like different versions. So I like to think of Missing No and Missing Number as different things. But there's like more than 2 of them. But I only really knew about the 2.
Yeah.
Because I knew that so the part of the glitch was you could catch Pokemon over level 100, but if you encountered Missing No and did the item duplication glitch, you wouldn't be able to encounter Pokemon over level 100 anymore, and you would have the other Missing No. I remember was a thing. And I was very careful in my game. So I never did the item duplication glitch because I always wanted to be able to fight and capture Pokemon over level 100. Mm-hmm. Even though it kind of wasn't that important because they were only... based on your name, it determines which Pokemon you can catch. All those, and sometimes that can lead into other stuff that was rumored, like you could capture Professor Oak. Like it scrolls through all the sprites.
Right.
Or just and lots of different like lots of different glitch Pokemon. So, but I didn't know that stuff. But I was also always worried about my save file getting corrupted because I really cared about my save file after I had wiped it once. I did I was kind of weird to me how much I cared about it considering I had wiped it out my save file once, but I really regretted that. I think is part of it.
Okay. I mean,
I got rid of that Mr. Mime that was my first level 100.
Yeah.
Mr. Mime though. He leveled so fast. You could only get him in a trade. Also, Psychic Pokemon were so overpowered.
Yeah, that early, just the entirety of the fucking types and anything.
I mean, yeah, that's one of my favorite things about playing OG Gen 1 is the fun of it being unbalanced. like as the series goes on, and now like all the types are equally balanced for competitive or whatever.
Oh my
Even though
God.
some Pokemon are still super powerful and some are really weak, but it's balanced in a way that's not like
So
weird shit like when special used to mean special attack and defense. It was just one stat,
yeah.
so you had weird things that happened because of that, like like Snorlax being a good special sweeper or whatever. Fun stuff. And also
think-
all the psychic Pokemon being broken.
One of my
Fun.
so I also had like when I played on Yellow, like, and I played, fucking like most of the Pokemon games, like at sans newer ones obviously, but like I have beaten Yellow at various points in my life. Like, it wasn't
Yeah.
a one and done deal. And I'd never, it's been sold, it's been bought, like it's been sold again, bought again, whatever. And now I have a virtual console, thankfully, so that's not going anywhere. But my original file, I played it, like most people play Pokemon. You catch stuff, you have the cool ones that you like, you go through the game, blah, blah, blah. Like my second iteration, I was like, you know what my favorite Pokemon is? Sandslash. What a cool fucking Pokemon. So I caught a Sandslash, and that's literally all I played with the entire game. Like, I've had so many people disbelieve that I beat the entire game with I caught a Sandshrew, and that's all I used. Sometimes I needed a fuckload of potions or whatever, but that's all I
Yeah.
had. Me and that Sandslash slashed our way through the Elite Four, literally. Like, it had just the crit chance on it and everything else. Like, shit died.
Nice. Yeah.
It was great.
The only problem with that stuff is like you need moves that have enough PP, or you just run
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, that was definitely there was some tight moments.
That was I was never into catching all of them. Like I've never
no.
done it in a game. I just never felt the urge. My thing that I liked to do after I beat the game was just beat the Elite Four over and over and train my Pokemon up to 100, and then train up a new team. Was the pattern I settled into, and then I learned too much. And learned about IVs and
Bro.
EVs, and then started
Yeah.
doing some of that stuff just because, like, I've spent so much time. But that kind of took the fun out of it for me.
Yeah.
But I can't go back because the just making your Pokemon fight the Elite Four, they're not as strong. They're weaker. It's annoying.
I've actually it's been a weird journey in that regard, because especially with the newer games, right? They make it so easy. Especially with you can literally train IV and stuff, and EV is really
They did the
it's there.
crazy thing of surfacing those mechanics in the game.
Yeah.
Like the crazy part about that shit is like there's nowhere in the game does it tell you any of that stuff. Like even the items that boost your EV growth, they're fucking unclear. It's like Dark Souls-esque about just not explaining bullshit to you.
And I've
Just like having it there.
a handful of people who like Gen 3, and I think that Gen 3 they dabbled, and then Gen 4 was a lot easier because you had like the Poketech or whatever that you could abuse for generation.
They kept basically generation upon generation made it. They would have various improvements to make it easier, I think.
Yeah.
I
But
think most of the time.
it's just, and I got into it in X and Y, I think. Like, oh, I'm gonna do these Pokemon. I'm gonna breed them for egg moves. I'm gonna get these native. Like, I went the whole way, and then I got sick of it.
Yeah.
And it's almost gotten. And I was gonna talk about this at some point. I think that, along with other things for me, like I've mentioned, I think previously, maybe in a podcast, maybe not, but. Like, I was one of the people who really disliked Gen 5. Like, Gen 5 can go fuck itself. And part of that, like, I dislike the Pokemon design, but part of that is kind of starting with Gen 4, stuff started to feel way more busy. And even in the games, like, there's so much. and they've brought the EV and IV values to light. They've added like horde battles, there's double battles, triple battles, there's all this stuff, and it's so fucking busy. And the game I compare it to is Assassin's Creed. Like, you have the first one, it's pretty straightforward. You have the second one, there's a lot more stuff going on, and then by the time you get to like 4, it's too much. You guys have way too much in a game, and half of it is never used. And I don't know. I dislike that feeling.
Yeah,
so
they put there's weird bullshit stuff. There's stuff they do right and there's stuff they do wrong. Like X and Y, I think they got the internet stuff really fucking down well.
Oh yeah, no, the internet stuff is good, but
in X and Y it was like Wonder Trade. I spent hours just Wonder Trading over and over again, like rolling random. It's like rolling.
It's gambling. It's gambling.
Fucking slot machine, except I'm not really gambling anything. I'm like throwing a Pidgey away or whatever.
Yeah.
Or I think it was I had a lot of Vulpix that I had been breeding.
Though.
Just yeah, but it's like that. You get the joy of it without wasting money. You're just wasting your life.
Oh
yeah. That stuff was good. That game I experienced like challenging a random person on the subway who I never saw. That was fun. That stuff was good. And then the next generation, Sun and Moon, like they fucked it up. Like the internet stuff was bad. Like it was clunky and because they did the thing of let's have physical space instead of menus and have all these different I'm just like, oh my god, I could wrap my head around this, but it's much slower and cumbersome. And I just didn't care. Also, I do know about myself. The thing I will say is when they've put out another generation on the same hardware, I care much less. I cared much less about Black and White than I did about Diamond and Pearl. I cared way less about Black and White 2. Black and White 2 is probably
Black and White 2. I've never played because first off, I hate Black and White, so I'm not gonna play the sequel.
Yeah, Black and White for me was fine, but doing it again was like, no, I don't want to. And then just like later ones like the remakes of 3, I don't like as much. And
they left out all the horns. They fucking nerfed the brass section.
Part of it is like I just liked how the GBA games, like the speed of it. It felt like they got much slower when they moved to doing 3D modeling stuff. Although, again, I think X and Y was great. Like I think that was an improvement. But then,
actually,
it's that game. Those games are not that complicated, so it's also just burnout on like. Oh, I got to do this over and over again. Like a lot of the burnout also comes from when they're putting out a game every year, which I think is too many Pokemon games. I decided, like, the longest break I think was between like Crystal and Ruby and Sapphire. Like that was the longest break Pokemon's taken, and I think that was a good thing.
It was,
but now it's kind of too popular to stop now. Yeah,
and the closest I've come to getting like all the Pokemon, I think, was in Alpha Sapphire. Because like I was pretty damn close in X, and then with Pokebank, transfer the shit over, and I would transfer shit between both games, and like because I was getting pretty close on both of them, and then I transferred some shit to Gen 7. Come to find out, if you transfer things to Gen 7, you can't transfer them back to Gen 6, even if it's a fucking Pikachu. Like a basic bitch Pikachu that you caught in X, you can't transfer it back. And that was
they've never let you transfer back between generations.
And like I fully admit that it was like mostly a I will be generous and take at least 65% of that blame. Like I should have known this at some point along the way, but I had all my shit on Gen 7, and I was like, I'm not really like a huge fan of Gen 7. I can live without it. So I sold my Gen 7 game. Come to find out, none of my other shit can be used in any of my other games. So I Wonder traded all that shit away. Like, got it back into a Gen 7 game. I just like, I'm out. I'm done. Like, this is whatever. I'll stick to, like, gens 1 through 3 and possibly 4 if that comes to Virtual Council or something. Because,
Yeah, it was hard. I mean, I've been, I don't know, I've been hard in on Pokemon. Like, I bought that dumb My Pokemon Ranch on the Wii, which was basically a Pokemon bank thing. I think I filled that enough to get a Mew. I don't remember if I finished that or not. Or I got a Mew somewhere else. I don't remember. Well, it started to become easier to get legendaries. Started giving them out more.
Yeah. And the fact that nothing's legendary anymore. Fucking throw a rock in Gen 7, you'd hit a legendary creature.
I mean, like through Wonder Trading, I'm just like, the way Wonder Trading works, like, oh yeah, here's a shiny Latios with perfect IVs and EVs.
Yeah.
Max level. Yay!
Enjoy.
I guess I have this now. That happens. Yeah, so that takes away some of the fun. And that's like the thing is, like, if I wanted to play a Pokemon game, I'd probably rather just like play an old one for a bit through the story mode and just play the game. I did miss and with like the way that like Pokemon Showdown works on the internet, where you could just do battles if that's what you want to do. Like, if you actually just want to have the battles, you could do that without all the grind, which makes way more sense to me. So that's outlet is there if that's what you want. And sometimes I want that, but not that often. Not that often.
Yeah, no,
It's just a thing.
that actually is one of my and it's a thing, like, objectively, it's such a little point that shouldn't matter, but I really dislike how frequent legendaries have become. Like, even starting with Gen 4, I kind of felt it. Like, there's like a lot more legendaries in this game than there were in Gen 3, and especially in like Gen 2 and Gen 1, obviously. And then in Gen 5, it's like more even, and then by the time you get to Gen 6, it's like, fuck it, just roll them all out. And then Gen 7,
it definitely became a thing where I used to enjoy having legendaries on my team, and now I just don't want any of them.
Because you could have like 6 teams of legendaries and still have some left over. Like, you could have your shit to your Rotom left
like
over.
Like Sun and Moon had so many dumb one-of Pokemon. I didn't even bother with any of it. I was just like, I actually don't care about any of this. I never want to use these Pokemon. They're not cool.
It's one of those things where, like, and I think like Gen 2 and Gen 3 were probably like peak for this for me. But when you have like, I'll go with Gen 2, you have the 3 guys that wander around, the dogs or whatever, and you got Lugia, Ho-Oh, whichever thing, and like, I think they, in the Virtual Council, they added Celebi as like a thing you can actually get, because they're not doing events, obviously.
Yeah.
But, and then in Gen 3, you had like, you had that kind of like third, you had the Rayquaza, which was great. Like, it felt good to go out and catch that handful of legendary Pokemon because they were fucking legends.
Yeah,
and now it's like,
that was the first, the fucking Reggies in Gen 3, though, is the first time, like, how the fuck would anyone without the internet ever figure this bullshit out? That was the most cryptic, dumb shit. Like, read this Braille text, and no, you have to have this Pokemon in your... It was actually like one of those rumors, where you have to have this Pokemon at the top, this random Pokemon at the bottom of your team to open this fucking door in this temple. Like, this, it's kind of cool, but it's also just like, I learned about it because I read it on the internet. Like, it wasn't like a mystery I uncovered. It was just a thing I had to get told.
I by no means did I fucking complete that thing without the internet's help, but I did stumble upon it on my own, which feels good, but also, like, it lasted maybe 20 minutes before I'm like, oh, okay, Mom, can I use the internet?
Just like, it's like, yeah, it's just those mysteries with the internet. It's just like, I don't care enough. Like,
Yeah,
tell
but
me,
it's still like it
give
was
me
still
the
a
stuff.
cool little thing.
Ah.
It felt cool just because, yeah, like you said, it felt like one of those dumb things that shouldn't be true at all, but then it fucking is for some reason.
Yes, no. It was that. Yeah, no, I liked it at the time, but that's it. Like,
Yeah.
okay, now we're done.
Yeah.
You've done the craziest dumb thing. You can't top this. It's over. Is more the kind of thing I mean.
Yeah. No,
That's-
I will be perfectly content with like a Gen 3, like either definitely virtual console. Like I don't want the remakes. I want that sweet VC. I don't care if it's on Switch or DS. Probably going to be Switch if anything at this point. But Gen 4, I don't know. Like I still have a fondness for that game, but that is certainly where like it goes downhill in my opinion. For how I
really
like to
liked-
play the game.
Yeah, I really liked Diamond and Pearl at the time.
Diamond and Pearl were
But
dope.
that was because it was a new hardware. It's exciting.
And see, yeah, that's the other thing too. I feel like I have not gone back to them much, like at all. I feel like it might be one of those cases where, like, the touch controls feel annoying. Maybe, I don't know.
No, I mean those touch scrolls are
guess-
in those games the same as they've been.
Yeah, I
in those
guess.
games. They
I've
haven't
just been-
really changed anything.
I've been playing a lot of Animal Crossing Wild World, which came out like, if it was real close to the DS releasing, I think. It was early enough where like they hadn't figured out touch controls yet, so it was that gimmick that they're going to force on you at every turn. And
It was
gets
a Nintendo game on a Nintendo console.
Yeah, so it gets really annoying, and then like you look at later stuff and it's like, oh, they figured out that people don't give a fuck. Like we with motion controls.
Yeah.
So okay, yeah, you're right though. Like with how Pokemon works, it's probably
Yeah.
fine.
Pokemon didn't have a thing. Now, if you want to go play Phantom Hourglass,
Oh,
luck.
zero desire. I'll stick to if anything.
that's a game
like
I
Diamond
super
Pearl.
enjoyed at the time. Cannot unplayable to go back to it though. Unplayable.
That sounds right. What was it Pokemon Ranger? Where you had to like draw stuff around the Pokemon? I think that's what
Yeah.
it was. Yeah.
Yeah, I never played those. None of none of the Pokemon spin-off games ever grabbed me.
I played Mystery Dungeon was like a dual thing, wasn't it? Like Red was on Advance and Blue was on DS or some shit like that. Or they had them for like both. It was I
think they
swear to God,
started
it was something
on-
like that.
I want to say they started on DS, but I don't.
I swear there's a Game Boy
Remember.
Advance one.
There could be.
Yeah, who knows?
All those games blend together to me because the only
Yeah.
interaction I ever had with them was doing the personality quiz to see what Pokemon you are. But the
Yeah.
game, like that kind of dungeon grind, just did not appeal to me. With the kind of basic
Yeah.
bitch ass story Pokemon's gonna give you.
See, I played, I think it was like Mystery Dungeon Blue. I believe it was definitely one of the first ones, like one of the first two. And I remember playing it and like the gameplay, like it's not, it's obviously not the Pokemon I was used to, but I remember the storyline, how I thought it was a lot better than Pokemon. Not necessarily that like what it actually was doing was better, but just how there was more of it, I guess. As opposed to
don't know.
like bad guys try to take legendary creature to do something to the planet and then you stop them and instead enslave the legendary creature to do your bidding. Like,
I mean, that only really. Does that start in 2? I don't.
definitely starts
I don't
in
even
3.
It's
Not
definitely
2.
That's how 3 is, but I don't remember if that was a thing in 2 yet.
It wasn't a thing. in
2
2,
was just
but,
you
like,
had that rival guy who was evil.
Yeah. I mean, was he evil? Or
I
was
mean,
he
the story in 1
misunderstood?
is the best because your rival is just a jerk.
Yeah, no, I mean, okay, first off, Rival isn't a
Who
jerk.
you beat
He's
all
a-
the time.
Your Rival is an alpha. Gary motherfucking Oak.
He's just, no, he's blue. His name is Blue in the video
Well,
game.
some of us
And you're
played
playing
yellow.
as red. I think it's those are the official character names, I think, still.
Yeah, but Yellow was definitely based on the show.
Yellow is Yellow is
It's like
in
the
Yellow
show.
you're Ash, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right, because you fight Team Rocket all the time.
Yeah, you got Jesse
Like actual-
James Meowth.
Jesse James Meowth, Team Rocket, was added into that game.
Yep.
So you're not wrong. And Ash has Pikachu, not
Yeah. And
an
there's
actual
those.
starter.
Yeah, but you can get all the starters,
It's true.
just like the real Ash ketchup.
Yeah, except you don't like save Charmander from dying in the rain.
Yeah, you don't save, but there are little like story bits.
It's
Like, each
weird
one had a
because
little
it's
thing.
a different story than the TV. It's like
Yeah,
similar
I mean, they had to
but also
shoehorn
different.
it in.
Like Misty and Brock don't come with you. I think they're older than your main character too.
Yeah.
There's weird that technically I don't think you might not be Ash even. You might be Yellow. You might be a character called Yellow. I don't remember so the official version of the game story, as far as I'm concerned, is the manga.
Yeah,
The Pokemon
I knew it was
adventure
fucking
manga.
coming. Yep.
It's good. It's actually really, I really like it.
I've dipped.
My only problem with it is, as you're reading an ongoing thing, when it like just changes the main character out from under you because the new game started, that's kind of annoying. Like I wish it could have kept going about like
my
following Red or whatever, but
my main.
But I really like that-
experience-
yeah.
With Pokemon manga, I don't know. Maybe you've dipped. I forget what it was even called, like Magical Journey or something, where everybody was named after nuts.
I never read that.
Okay,
I really
good.
I only read the manga because my friend was buying it, and I just like binged it all at once, basically. So it's like it's in my brain, but it's all kind of blends together because I read it once, like all at once, super fast.
No, there was. I forget what it even. I know it was definitely more like a cutesy style. I know like none of it's like canon or game related or whatever, but there was like the main character, and like I think the Pokemon could like talk in it too, like they could speak English, or at the very least it was like a thing where like the Pokemon could like you saw what they were thinking or something. I don't know.
I'm
enjoyed
definitely
it as a kid.
definitely
You know what?
always against Pokemon talking. It's always
Whatever.
bad.
You know what?
Except for
I don't-
Meowth.
I don't have to
always
listen to
bad.
them, so that definitely takes away from the problem. Because you're never gonna get
When Pikachu talks in that
Pikachu,
movie,
they could fuck off with that.
it's
no,
the
you had-
worst. It's
had-
the worst.
You had Hazel, and then this like nervous guy called Peanut. He came in. There was a dude named Almond. There was Dr. Coconut. Like, it was a
What
good
is this,
time.
Dragon Ball Z?
Yeah,
All
I
the
don't
enemies
know.
are named after wind instruments.
Now I want to
Well,
like.
and piano.
Now I want to go back and like look this up, see how far it got, because like my tiny ass library had like 4 copies or something. I'm sure it went on longer. Yeah. No, Pikachu talking.
look.
I can't fucking what?
Look. Oh no, there's one other Pokemon talking that's good, and that's Slow King.
Oh,
Because he
in
talks about how I
2000?
wish you had pants. Yeah.
wish I
He's
had
also
pants.
acceptable. Him talking was also good. That was like the one time in those movies it was
You
good.
didn't like Lugia's voice actor?
Dude, I was so happy. When Lugia shows up on the show and doesn't talk, it's so much better. It's like, oh, this is what I wanted. This thing, where it's just like a mean mom.
You don't want him to be like the song. This song has revived me. You are the chosen one.
Pokemon talking is what makes the Pokemon movies bad.
Even Mewtwo?
The first movie is probably the worst.
Did
But it does have the hilarious thing of Pokemon crying because they have to fight and talking about how fighting is bad,
yeah.
which is just
And then Ash
lack
continues
of understanding.
Ash
of
continues
the
onward
franchise they have built.
after that, and he's like, fighting is wrong. Pikachu, beat the shit out of him. Use Thunderbolt. Don't show mercy. Did anyone in Pokemon Heroes, the Latios one, did Latios talk? I feel like one of them talked. I
They
feel like someone talked.
both talk, I think. I don't
I forget.
remember.
I feel like they just made like little animal noises.
They're little cooing noises.
Yeah, they're little like
It's
pigeon
possible.
noises.
It's possible they only made those noises. I don't remember at all.
Yeah. Entei talks.
know-
Entei. How do you pronounce Entei? Entei? Okay.
I think.
Sounds
Sounds right to me.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Okay. Gen 3, Blue Legendary. What do you say?
Entei.
No, fucking
Oh, Suicune.
Gen 3. Gen 3 Blue Legendary.
Oh. Fucking
Entei.
Kyogre.
Okay.
Gen 3. Gen 3 is Kyogre.
I don't know why, but like I was in like what was it? 3rd grade? 2nd grade? 3rd grade. Like, for some reason pronounced it Kyogre.
I mean, I pronounced it was basilisk or whatever. Like I pronounced plenty of things wrong when I was a kid.
Yeah. I mean, it's
I
not
had plenty
not nearly as bad as so for an embarrassing
My
like,
favorite
this is-
example of someone pronouncing something bad was apparently my dad when he was a kid. He pronounced Colonel Cyclone.
That's Cyclone. Oh, that's pretty good. That's a fucking good one.
Not Colonel, Cyclone.
I think my biggest one in general for like actual words was I would pronounce genre as Janeer because it was one of those things where I knew what it meant, I knew what it was, but somehow no one had ever said it around me. Like no one had ever said that word. And you look at it like, how am I gonna fucking know it's pronounced genre?
That's the thing about making fun of people who pronounce shit wrong. It's like, yeah, sorry I read stuff.
Yeah.
Fucker.
No, I think my worst one overall was Legend of Zelda, and this lasted until I don't even know. Definitely not as recent as 2 years. Probably not 3. If someone told me that I was doing it up until like 4 years ago, so like 20, maybe 19, like I would pronounce it Dooku, the Great Dooku Tree.
Like Count Dooku?
Like Count Dooku. I don't know why. Like for some reason, my kid brain, like playing Ocarina of Time, I am like, there's no way this could possibly be pronounced Deku. That's dumb. It's Dooku, obviously, and that just like,
Obviously.
no one ever corrected me. Because most of the people
It's really the people's fault.
most of the people I talked to about it either had no idea what I was talking about, or I was talking to them on text chat because it was online. Just so yeah, that was a thing. But yeah, no, Pokemon are generally there's Kyogre, there's Swishoon.
Swishoon. Oh, that's pretty good. Look, the best Pokemon name is Girafarig because it's giraffe and then giraffe backwards.
Yeah,
It's the best.
I mean,
Or Klefki because he's keys.
Klefki
So
is
clearly
fucking-
he's the best
I'd call him
Pokemon.
garbage, but there's already a garbage Pokemon.
Okay. Now, garbage Pokemon actually the best.
No, I complain about, and this is for anyone listening. Like, you can go check me on this. Me and Peter were talking about it one day. Maybe I've talked about this before. I'm talking about it again. Me and Peter were talking one day about like Gen 5 and stuff. I'm like, no, dude, I swear, like all of the designs are just fucking real life objects that have been turned into Pokemon. He's like, yeah, but that's like every other generation of Pokemon does that too. I'm like, no, it's like all of them in this one. And we actually went out and counted every single Pokemon from every single generation. Gen 5, by far the highest rate of this. By far. Like, it's absurd. So it is mathematically justified.
That doesn't bother me though. The thing that bothers me is when they redo animals they've already done before. That's the shit that bugs me personally.
So Gothorita
Like-
didn't bother you? Just curious.
I mean, it's like I just don't care. You'll say it doesn't bother me. No.
Okay, well, I like. To
I
each
mean,
their own wrong opinion.
look, one of my favorite Pokemon is Mr. Mime.
Okay, but Mr. Mime is a goddamn treasure.
Also, that Mr. Mime can be female is one of the best things. They just, for some reason, they didn't bother to make. There are Pokemon that are locked to one gender.
And that's
Mr.
not
Mime's
one of
not
them.
one of them.
Also, Jinx is just amazing.
Yeah, see,
that it
Jinx
exists.
is that's
Its skin
man.
is purple though.
Man, Jinx though. It's rough.
You can retcon the Pokemon, but you can't retcon my memory.
Man.
It's pretty good.
But Trubbish is the best Pokemon. It's the best.
That is okay.
It's pretty good.
I have a.
He's a garbage. He is literal garbage.
It's pretty good because it's bad. Like, that's how I like. It's like Vanilla Ice. Like, I hate Vanilla Ice, but it's also kind of amazing that it exists.
Go Ninja, go Ninja, go.
I think the animate, inanimate objects that I like the best are like the haunted sword. Mm-hmm. That one's real good. What is it, Chimeco? That's kind of, is that, I kind of counted in that, I guess.
Yeah, because he is literally a wind chime.
Yeah, like that's a pretty good.
He's the wind chime Pokemon.
Yeah,
I really liked him at first, but then the more I used him, he was bad, and I got sad.
I was really absurdly confused for a while. I think was that Gen 3 or Gen 4? Gen 4? Hell,
I
think
don't remember it all. I think it's Gen 4.
I think it's Gen 4 because I think I had a guide for Gen 4 for some reason. I think someone gave it to me.
Nope,
as like
Gen
a
3.
Gift. Okay,
It's Gen
then
3.
I don't know why. Maybe I was just looking stuff up. I must have been looking something up online and someone had like a picture from the guide, or I like looked at the guide in the store or something, just like, you know, little kid like browsing through it. Mm-hmm. And the picture they used was Chimeco's shiny sprite. This led to possibly the most confusion that I've ever had in a Pokemon game. Thought I was catching shinies nonstop. Because as it turns out, it was not correct. I probably caught like 7 of them. Like, I was so thrilled. I was
Shinies are another thing that's like a thing people
Nerf
would talk
thing.
about and then suddenly they were like a thing I just encountered in the game. Like, whoa.
I have only
Whoa.
encountered one natural shiny, and it was on a fucking ROM. So, actually,
I've
that's not
encountered
true.
a bunch.
I bred one. I bred a shiny Diglett in like Gen 6. Mm-hmm. Felt good. Peter, meanwhile, dude fucking spends 15 minutes in game and runs into a shiny Eevee. Son of a bitch. Everyone else is out here like, well, I got a shiny Pidgey. It's like getting shit on.
Yeah, the first shiny I encountered was a Meryl. It was a green Meryl.
That's pretty good. That's a good one.
It's weird though, because it's green as Meryl, and then when it becomes a Zoomerl, it becomes yellow.
It's
and
gold. It's gold, not yellow.
It's
It's not a fucking school bus. It's a beautiful, valuable brick.
No, it's definitely a school bus. Have you seen the IVs on that thing? Terrible.
What's
It's
yellow?
like 4 miles to the gallon.
What's yellow and bad at Pokemon? You could have said a bus or a Azurill. Azumarill? Which one is
Azumarill.
involved? Azumarill?
Yeah.
You could have said either one.
Again,
Would have been right.
I think. I don't know. I haven't watched the show in a while.
Did you ever dip into like the actual cards?
Only a little bit. I have one Pokemon card that I own. It is of Misty's Psyduck, because I think
Oh,
that's hilarious.
fucking of
It's just
course.
a card. It's just Misty's Psyduck. Because Misty, that character is great on the show. That particular Psyduck is
Top
the
tier.
best. But yeah, no. I never learned how to play it in the day. I only knew how to play it eventually because I played the GBA game. That's most of my experience with the card game is that GBA game, which is a
Okay.
pretty good for a game or Game Boy game. It's not for the GBA. It's for the original Game Boy. For a Game Boy game that's like a card game, that's pretty fucking good. Because that's the other thing I'll say about why I love Pokemon so much was I was hardcore Game Boy because that was the system I owned, original Game Boy.
Yeah.
And so like that system's had a really long life of games supporting it, and Pokemon was like this amazing game that came out at the end of it. So that was like that was also big for me. Was just oh man, everybody cares about a Game Boy game. Fucking finally. Nobody cared about these things.
Yeah, I really only got into the like the collection aspect. Like, man, Pokemon cards are cool, and I'd like just have them. I had them in a binder, and I would like. It sounds weird, but I like read them. Like I'd just read the flavor text, basically.
Oh,
Just
totally.
like, look at them, like like
So
little art.
the thing was I had already gotten into Magic cards by the time Pokemon cards started.
Okay, yeah,
So like I had so Pokemon was like it was like the imitator in that regard. Like it wasn't original. It was this newer thing that then became popular, and there were kids in my school who would like buy packs and then try to sell off cards. Like there was a whole economy going with
Yeah,
it
that
just
sounds
because
right.
like it was so popular. So I kind of resented it for not being Magic the Gathering because it's not Magic the Gathering, which is the best. But yeah,
Me-
that's more my thing.
The closest I got to playing it was like me and my siblings who also had some Pokemon cards because every child was getting in on that if they could.
Yeah.
The way we would play is like make these little decks and just shuffle them up and basically play war with them.
Nice.
Like, oh man, this one has higher HP. I win.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a fine way to play because I don't think it's a great game. Having played
I
it, I don't love it. But
The first time I walked in to like a Magic draft and referred to the foils as holographic,
oh no,
there was
Dude.
a lot of glares. Yeah, no.
I can't remember if Magic only started doing foils after Pokemon holographics.
I mean,
It's around the
like-
same time. I
it was
think.
7th gen, fucking 7th edition, rather.
Yeah,
So,
it feels
whenever
like
that was.
That feels. I think that was later than Pokemon starting.
Well, I
that
think
was
I thought
it was reaction. I don't
thought-
remember though.
Pokemon did it from the get-go. Did they not?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
No,
literally,
yeah,
so-
no. I think Pokemon did it from the get go, and I think
Okay.
Magic
Bad.
only started doing it after Pokemon had made it a thing.
I mean,
But I don't
that makes
remember.
sense.
That's not necessarily true. That's just a thing that as I'm thinking about it.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense, though.
Yeah,
Like, it's
people got into it,
Yeah.
like collecting the shiny Charizard though. The shiny Charizard.
it helps when one of the deals with foil cards at first in Magic was, hey, that shitty white border? Now it's black. Sleek. Looks nice.
I don't know. Early foils in Magic I thought looked kind of bad though. They hadn't figured out the technology yet.
Yeah. Some of them are hit and
They
miss.
have improved over time. I don't know, I
Yeah.
was just holding my Ixalan cards after like going through old boxes and like these cards just feel different.
Oh no, totally. The inking process,
Yeah.
way worse in newer cards. When I was racing some borders on new cards, it's like, oh, I can knock out a card in like a minute and a half, 2 minutes, whatever. An old card like Time Spiral, it's so not even like the oldest. Like shit took me half an hour for a card. Like it was brutal. It cheaped out. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that was. I remember when they changed the most brutal thing was when they changed the packaging because they were like really thick, like tinfoil or whatever, and it was a good rip. And then when that was like a weak rip, it was like, oh, all that visceral pleasure is just fucking gone. Now what do I? This garbage. Throw it away. Throw it away.
Yeah, just throw the whole thing out. Like fuck this. I'm out.
I'm out. I'm done.
Yeah, there is like it's actually weird at my game store. There is the only two things they do are like for card game tournaments are Magic and Pokemon. They don't do Yu-Gi-Oh, I think because they just dislike that entire fan base. Like it's the fan base that people who play Pokemon and people who play Magic unite against, I guess.
I have the same experience with Yu-Gi-Oh that I do with the Pokemon game, which is I mostly learned it through playing a video game. Had a GBA Yu-Gi-Oh game. It was fun. I had a deck that could win on turn 1.
Nice.
That was cool. I like that. So like then learning that all those cards are banned, like, aw, that's no fun. Where's Legacy?
Yeah, like
Power 9 only.
Pokemon is weird though with like its rarity system. I forget how it even fucking works. Cause they have like different versions or whatever. There's like the ultra hollow rare or something, and it's like foil better and just.
I definitely had a firmer grasp on the rules of Yu-Gi-Oh, mostly because there was a TV show that eventually started following a kind of rules.
Yeah.
It's really weird how that show is like, first season, just fucking cards do whatever the fuck we want them to do. And then second season, they start like having rules. That's just a weird
What does Pot of Greed do? It lets me draw 2 cards from the top of my library. Oh, thank you. I had no idea.
Definitely banned.
Fucking banned.
Yeah, there's no Pokemon. That's really the problem with the Pokemon trading card game. There's no Pokemon trading card game TV show where all the characters go to a school where they learn how to play the Pokemon trading card game.
I mean, there's also... They don't have, like... Is there a digital version? Like, at all?
Yes, there is.
Okay. That has flown so far under my radar that I had to ask. Like, literally did not know. You could have said no. I would have believed you.
Yeah. Again, I'm still just going to play that Game Boy game if I want to play a Pokemon card game, though.
Yo, no, I have zero.
The game is okay.
Yeah, one of my former coworkers at the factory, her son was like, get into that age, like super into Pokemon and stuff, like into cards and everything. Yeah. And this guy at work had like an old box of Pokemon cards and everything, and so he like gave him to this lady's kid, and she's like, "Oh, Ben, do you know how to play the card game at all?" Like, no, not really, even a little. She's like, "Well, would you want to learn with us?" I'm like, also gonna be a no. I'm sorry, but like I already know Magic, and I just don't feel like there's a reason why I also got in and out of Hearthstone on the same day. Like I pick up other card games, and I'm like, I already got this one under my belt. That's plenty. Though I still look at Slay the Spire and think, maybe.
I mean, Slay the Spire is a different thing. It's like playing a deck building game, not a collectible card game.
Yeah, but like Hearthstone and stuff, like nope.
I'm just Hearthstone's dungeon mode, which is just like it's roguelike thing that's free, is totally fun. I recommend that.
Okay,
it's a fun time.
Might check it out.
Yeah, it's not Magic the Gathering though.
No. I am excited because I recently bought Pokemon Crystal on Virtual Console.
Mm-hmm.
And
I've been thinking about it, but I've not.
pull the trigger. Pull the trigger. We can trade stuff. Hear me
Trade
out. Hear
what?
me out. I know.
Okay. Here's the thing, though. I never liked trading. I
Why?
always felt bad. I'm
well,
like,
here you
because
go.
I'm a hoarder. Like, I just
Here you
like
go.
having things that I have. Like, I never sold back video games. If I have a thing, I want to have it. Because
Okay.
then later, if I can't get it when I have the thought about it, then that makes me sad.
So, competitively, you might think that Lugia is good, but he's not. So you should trade me Lugia for like a Houndoom.
But I like Lugia.
Think about it. Oh, all I'm hearing is that you like losing.
Yeah.
At the very least, you could fight me in it.
Lugia has like these big wings that are like hands. It's so cool. Or hand wings. These big hands. Also, Lugia's psychic type, so obviously Lugia's great. Man,
Naturally.
Lugia's design is so great. It's such a shame that movie is so bad.
I like.
That movie is terrible.
I actually didn't think of
Well-
it for the duration of this podcast until you brought it up. So
Well, specifically, Lugia talking is terrible. There are parts of that movie that are fine, like most of the Pokemon movies. It's really the Pokemon talking is bad, and then the schmaltzy stuff that they get too hard on. That I don't like. Also, they're boring. My biggest problem with
that's
Pokemon
the-
movies
yeah.
generally is that they're boring. TV show has like some pace to it because they have to like get all the things have to happen in like 20 minutes. It's like, what if all that happened over like an hour?
Has Ash actually won at anything yet?
Yeah, he won the Orange Islands, dude. That's early. He won
gotta-
the Orange Islands.
that's
He
a-
beat Lance. Pikachu beat Dragonite.
Okay. Like how
It was
early
good.
this?
I mean, that's after Indigo League.
Okay,
so
like
after
what-
he loses to
wait,
Richie.
what-
It's like
okay.
the second opening thing. It's like episode 130 or something. I don't remember.
Okay.
But yeah, it's weird. It's like the basically after the it's the first story after the plot of the game of getting those gym badges. Then they like go to a made up area that's not in any games.
Yeah.
And Ash wins, so it's like this is definitely filler. Or whatever. But but that's the thing I'll say that we haven't talked about the show that much. Like that some of those tournament fights are actually great. Like the end of the Orange I didn't like the Orange Island switch at the time just cuz like it's changed. They changed the theme song and it's worse. And there's this artist guy instead of Brock. It's annoying. Changes bad. Team Rocket's now in a Magikarp sub instead of a Gyarados sub, which I thought was lamer at the time. Now I don't care. But the end of that arc is really fucking good. It's a good,
Okay.
like, it's like 2 episodes fight. And it's like that, and then when Ash finally fights Gary at the end of Master Quest or whatever, that battle is also super good. The fight that follows it is also pretty good, but it's hilarious shilling for the next Gen 3 games, though.
That
Because
sounds right.
Blaziken beats Charizard. It's just like, so here's Blaziken, this Pokemon you've never seen before. He's just gonna fucking kick everyone's ass. Although I think he does lose in the next round after he beats Ash. So he's not that
Firefighting
good,
boys, get used to it.
Charizard can beat Blastoise, but Blaziken is too much.
Fire.
This is fair.
Fire. That's
Blaziken
'cause-
was banned.
That's
Blaziken was
'cause-
pretty bad.
That's because
Blaziken-
Blastoise wasn't fucking kicking.
Blaziken, more powerful than Mega Blaziken.
When you're good,
They
you're
fucked
good,
that
you know?
up somehow.
So okay. So, how many things has Ash won since? Because I remember one of my complaints like back in the day, and this is the complaints of someone who knew nothing about the show and still doesn't, and I
Yeah.
don't really have any desire to. Like, it always seemed like he was never actually winning at anything.
Well,
Like, he
'cause-
loses a shitload for trying
Yeah.
to be the very best.
so they do it. They don't.
Garbage.
In the TV show, they do the league system differently, where getting the gym badges just gets you to qualify for a big tournament to find out who's the best. So Ash gets to like a point within like the first tournament he's in. Like he does pretty well. He just happens to like lose in whatever top 16, top 32 or something. Like he doesn't get all the way, so he can still have something to struggle against or whatever in those big tournaments. And that's like how the next arc ends. Like that's a standard thing of like he'll hit like top 16 or something in tournaments. Okay. But then at the end of Advance they did like this special thing of like he was taking on, it was like the Battle Frontier stuff where he's like, he's fighting a trainer who has a Articuno. Like,
Great.
here's Charizard versus Articuno fights. Like he's fought trainers who have legendaries with Charizard. Like he's like had his accomplishments
Yeah.
as a trainer. He's still has his failures, I think, because I've tried to watch his. I mean,
he's only 12,
actually.
so...
Yeah, I mean, he's perpetually the same age. I think he's 10, isn't he? 10 forever?
Is there have you met many 10 and 12-year-olds that have a significant amount of difference after a certain point of time?
There's a difference.
Okay. Maybe if you're the 10 or 12-year-old.
10-year-olds are more pure, okay? 12-year-olds are starting to get
I
horny.
actually can't argue. Yeah, I actually can't argue that. I remember,
yeah. But yeah, I like the big fights that Pokemon does. They do them so freaking occasionally, but I've tried to watch the big fights that happen later, but they don't ever live up to my favorite ones. And then once the voice acting changes, I hate it.
Yeah.
So I wish, and I haven't been able to find them. If I could find good copies of those episodes just subtitled in Japanese, I would probably like it better. Because as much as Pokemon is a show I'd rather watch dubbed. I like the original Pokemon dub, but I don't like the Cartoon Network second dub. I'm just not a fan.
There are a few things that I would like in a Pokemon show, like the little short they did. It was like 4 or 5 episodes or whatever with like Red. Was that a
Pokemon Origins?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that was great. Except also it was shilling for the game at the end with the the
100%.
Mega Charizard, like super shilling.
100%.
But no, I really liked that short, and I liked it because it was the structure of the games, and it was more like the manga in terms of just being about red and blue and stuff.
I would have much preferred, like, if they could like start a new Pokemon show and like they can keep this one going. I don't give a shit, whatever.
The problem,
but like, do it like the games or whatever. Like, I want to follow Brendan and whoever. I want to follow Crystal and whoever. Like, I want the games or whatever. Because then I could just follow that, and I can at least like get off on the nostalgia of it, and I'll know what's going on. Like, I don't give a shit about Ash.
I would like that. They were doing like shorts on YouTube, kind of in that style, but they were too short to like have any real feeling about them. They were like filling in like side story stuff of like off-screen stuff that happens during the games of like Lance investigating stuff. But again, they were like 2 minutes each or something. It's just not enough time. And I've heard parts of the show are better, but not like from trustworthy sources. Just like times there was like a period where the animation was just getting bad, and then they stepped it up for a while at some point or something. I think the animation was better, but also they've done weird stuff where like Ash has like a weird connection with his Greninja. It's like Ash's Greninja was a special thing you could get in the game.
Seeing that because like
They
it's
like
a weird. They went like full Digimon season 5 or whatever on it, where they're like fusing with shit, and I'm like, okay, like zero chance of me getting into this now.
So yeah, I haven't watched that stuff, but I know what happened. It's the Master Quest stuff that I know happened where Ash was supposed to be good, but that was a part where I think the animation just wasn't great. I watched an episode where he brought back Charizard, Bulbasaur, and Squirtle, and it just didn't hit hard enough, and they lost. It's just like, ugh. Come on. The best part was the first time they brought those characters back, it was great because they won, and it was just great. And still within the window of when I cared about that show. It's good stuff. They're good fights in Pokemon. Like that Bellsprout, that was super strong. That Bellsprout was pretty dope.
I definitely had some of the VHS tapes. That was like the most I had as far as exposure to the show goes. So it was a handful of episodes. Like I remember the one where there was all these Bulbasaurs and Ivysaurs, and there was like a Venusaur Overlord. They all did like this evolution thing. And Ash's Bulbasaur was being called to it, and there was the whole big emotional, like, you don't have to change if you don't want to, Bulbasaur. I love you the way you are, but also if you want to do it,
I hate that
like,
bullshit. Bulbasaur's the best, and because he stayed a Bulbasaur, he's less strong going forward, so that makes me sad.
Yeah. No, like, I would have also been far more interested in an Ash that does age, and, like, start of the series, he's happy-go-lucky with his little Pikachu and his little Bulbasaur, and then by the end of the series, he's like a battle-scarred veteran with all these kick-ass Pokemon, and he is the equivalent of Red on the fucking mountain. Like, that's what I want to see. That's what I want to see in my I want a dark Pokemon. I want him to see some shit.
Yeah, I wish the show could progress like along a linear story instead of having it's the bad kind of serialization where it's like we're gonna just keep this story going, but really we're just gonna soft reboot it every once in a while to keep it the same thing so that we can bring in the same age demographic, whereas like as you grow up you want your show to continue to change with you, which doesn't happen with Pokemon.
I mean, also, Ash is in a coma. Don't know if you heard, but...
Yeah, I saw the movie. He was a normal high school student, and there are no Pokemon. He went up on the roof, like a normal Japanese middle schooler, and he angsted in the roof that's covered by fences because they don't want people jumping off.
What fucking movie is this?
That's the one where Pikachu talks. There's this whole sequence where Ash falls into a coma and he wakes up in school and he's like sitting at a desk in school on the window seat like he's a main character in an anime or something. No. And then he goes up on the roof and they have a talk about man, imagine if like you could go on an adventure.
So like they fucking made it canon.
I mean, it was a dream sequence.
Okay, but like actually that was reality and the rest of it's a dream. Okay.
Exactly.
Fucking confirmed.
And then he wakes up and then Pikachu talks and everything is awful.
Then he wakes up and Pikachu is there and he's like, Ash, you're finally awake.
He talks as Danny DeVito and all sorts.
I still remember people like the petition to get Danny DeVito to voice Pikachu and Detective Pikachu. That is how you get me to buy that game. Day one, I will drop $40, $50, maybe $60 on a game where Pikachu is Danny DeVito. That would be fucking amazing. Or just follow a Danny DeVito Pokemon trainer instead of Ash. Like just the greasiest, sleaziest Pokemon trainer who ever lived. His mane would be like a Mr. Mime that he forces to wear a trench coat.
Oh man, that'd be great. Look.
he would have a Trubbish.
Yes. All right,
Like,
I'm all in
naturally.
now.
Yeah, like he'd just have garbage Pokemon, literally.
This is the best. But yeah, the other thing you'd want to talk about was Pokemon Chronicles, which was a spin-off Pokemon show that I think was made up of different specials. But the thrust of it is, other than this like 1 3-episode thing that was plot of Gen 2, basically, with the legendaries, that was terrible. That 3 episodes were bad and not fun. Other than that, it was side episodes episodes like about side characters, and they're great. Like, okay. Pokemon Chronicles is like some of my favorite stuff of the TV show, of just like the side characters. Like, there's an episode about Jesse and James going to like a village that's like Marvel Comics version of like of Hicks in Europe.
Right.
It was just like with like pitchforks and stuff. It's so good. It's just like a lot of fun, and there's no Ash. Ash isn't in any of them. Oh. It's great.
God, no,
it's
that
Pokemon
sounds like
without
the best
Ash.
Pokemon show.
It's so good. I highly recommend it. Except those plot episodes. Those plot episodes are bad.
Did you ever get in on Pokemon Go?
I don't really have a phone. I have an iPod Touch, so I only have Wi-Fi, so it was kind of a pain in the ass. I tried, but
yeah.
Yeah. I probably would have done it if I had had like a real phone with internet everywhere instead of being tethered to Wi-Fi networks. I did try. I had actually run it on my desktop using an emulator.
Great.
Where then you can pick your location. You set your location. I did that for a while just because I was mad, but it would just make me mad. Yeah. Just because I would hear people talking about it all the time and just kind of get angry about it. So.
Yeah. No, that like people joke about that. They're like, "Oh, it was 1 month of like human unity. Like everybody was outside hanging out." I'm like, I didn't see it to that extent, partially because I'm in the middle of fucking nowhere. But it was definitely like a thing, like just how many people got on
phenomenon.
Board. Yeah, and then it was ruined.
It was a fad.
And everybody fucked up and left. Apparently, it's better now. I've been thinking about getting it again because I've read a bit, and apparently they fixed some stuff, and it's not trash. So, maybe
it's probably still trash. I mean, the thing that I hated about it is the battling system. Is like I just want Pokemon. I don't want this bullshit.
Well, that's the thing, right? I'm like, well, I could get in on like I could do some Pokemon Go again, but also I just bought Crystal, so like I could play the better version in every way.
Yeah. Like that's. I guess I've heard there are raids in Pokemon Go.
Yeah, the gym stuff is like raids now. Yeah,
that sounds like a nightmare.
Mm-hmm. Zero desire.
Yeah.
Oh,
like collecting Pokemon's fun, but like
speaking of raids and legendaries, that reminds me of like my first experience with a legendary, which was in Silver. Catching Lugia. And this was definitely second grade because I was going to the hospital a lot just for like this ear shit. Like I kept getting ear infections or whatever. Ended up having tubes. Lots of time spent in the waiting room. And I just bring my Game Boy, right? What else am I gonna do? And I had Silver, and I like had finally made it to Lugia. And it was absurd, right? Like, my little kid brain is just firing on all cylinders because this is fucking dope. And I'm like, I had Great Balls, I had Pokeballs, like, I was ready. I was ready for it. And, you know, naturally, if you hold A and B when the ball shuts, way higher chance. Way fucking higher chance.
Yeah, no, totally.
Some
people think it's up, but it's definitely down.
They're fucking wrong. But I decided that, you know what's like better than holding just A and B? Like holding A, B, L, and R. It's even better. Do you know what is even better than holding A, B, L, and R. Holding A, B, L, R, select, and start. And that's how I learned. And that's how I learned that you can reset your game that way. Like in the middle of this thing, I was like 30 minutes deep in this battle trying to catch Lugia.
Yeah.
Whew. Valuable lessons were learned. I think it happened twice too, because like I didn't know that's what caused it. Like I didn't make that connection. Like thinking about it now, I'm pretty sure it happened twice. And then I was like, maybe I should stop doing this.
See, you are capable of learning.
Yeah, I didn't get angry at it. Like even when I didn't realize that it was me doing it, I was like, oh, like the game just like glitched or something. Whatever. Like turn it back on, do it again. Meanwhile, now I play the tutorial to Nier Automata, fail, die, and realize I have to do the whole, like, 20 minutes again? I haven't touched it since. I will someday. But, someday.
I remembered another reason why Orange Islands, when they switched to that, it had a bad taste in my mouth. That was when they introduced the first Pokemon that I thought was bullshit, which is Pichu.
Oh boy.
Pichu is
You
the first
don't like
Pokemon.
Pichu?
Pichu's. It's just bullshit.
I mean, no, like
the idea of it is bad. Bad idea.
Yeah, I don't really disagree. Like the idea of
Like I don't
Pichu
care. I
or
don't
the
care
idea
anymore.
about baby
But definitely at the
Pokemon?
time. Definitely at
Was
the
it
time.
Pichu or baby Pokemon in general? Like, how do you feel about
No,
Smoochum?
they're definitely baby Pokemon. I'm okay. Like fucking what's the baby form of Wobbuffet?
Why not?
Yeah, why not? Why not's great. I'm fine with why not.
Yeah, because why not?
Mime and Junior, I guess I don't. It's whatever. It was just Pichu at the time. It was just like this is
Okay.
you're selling out. This is like the sell up move. I didn't care for it.
So thoughts on Plusle and Minion?
Direction. Plusle and Minion, I was more okay. Like again, the idea had already been established, and they thought like their dumb gimmick was fun, even if it was stupid to ever pair them up in an actual battle.
Yeah, they were pretty terrible.
Weird. It was weird. I liked Pachirisu is my favorite, I think, of the Pikachu, but not because it's a squirrel instead of a mouse.
Yeah.
Also, he could learn Super Fang, which is just a fun move.
Yeah. Got to find a way to sneak those squirrel decks into your game.
Exactly. There was the one that would just look like Raichu but fat.
Ooh,
I think it was after Pachirisu.
Oh yeah, that was like Gen. Was that 6?
I don't remember.
It was definitely later. I can picture it exactly. I know exactly what you're talking about, but I can't. Or is it 7 even? I don't know.
No, 5 was Emolga. Yeah,
Okay.
6 was Dedenne.
Which one's that? Is that the squirrel one?
No, Dedenne
No,
is
or Patch thing.
like a mouse. He's just a mouse again.
Okay. There's so many. I can't keep them all fucking straight.
Yeah.
I got like the first 300 on lock, and then like the first 400 I'm solid. After that, I can't.
Togedemaru, also garbage.
I don't. You're just saying words now. Like you could be talking about magic cards.
Here.
They rolled out that
garbage.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's pretty.
That's a garbage.
Oh, it was
Pokemon.
Gen 7. Okay, called it.
Well, no. The one I was.
The one you
thinking
were
of
talking about
was Gen 6.
Yeah, but like
Was this one?
Oh, okay, gotcha. I mean, they're both not great.
Those two are bad.
I did.
That was
looking,
Pachirisu was the last. Oh, Emolga was okay, but
looking at these, is like the actual pictures is making me realize I saw a thing. Someone was talking about like why people, or someone was asking on Reddit like why people don't like most of the Pokemon designs, or why it feels like people are complaining more about new Pokemon. And someone had a nice response that I'd never thought of before, and after I read it, it made a ton of sense. It's the eyes. Like early Pokemon, think about like Onix or Voltorb or whatever. Like their eyes were that, that shape. They had the more hard shape. And now new Pokemon, they have like fucking cutesy anime eyes. Like the cutesy anime eyes. And he said it's not necessarily that alone, but it's that subtle thing that no one really, like, you can't pinpoint it, but you just don't like it as much. And he made that post, and I'm like, that, you are very correct. That is a thing.
I mean, there was the thing, just like in the original games, there were a lot of Pokemon that just looked weird and bad. Like,
name one.
This was hard in like the original game.
Yeah,
like,
name one. They're all treasures.
Well, also, they looked even worse. They looked even less, even less refined in the. If you look at the original Japanese sprites for a lot of them, because we got the revisions.
I mean,
the original version's pretty rough.
Bring back Fat Pikachu, though.
I know that's true, though. They should bring back Fat Pikachu.
I like my Pikachu's thick.
It's just like Sonic. It's better when the fatter it is.
Yeah. Can you get those at all in like the eShop or anything? Or are they like probably not?
I don't think so.
Because that would be great. I would love to play through like Yellow. Did Yellow have it, or was it fully revised by then?
Because Yellow's like third revision, so it was
okay.
So it was red and green, and then like blue in Japan was with the revised stuff, I think.
Okay. Need to
think
copy of it somewhere or something. I want to play with Fat Pikachu, man.
You could probably find a ROM.
Oh yeah.
Also, although I will say Mimikyu is the best of the not Pikachus, because it's a sad ghost that just wants friends.
Yeah. Yep. No, that's pretty good.
And it just has like a giant evil claw.
Yeah.
Mimikyu was I think the best Pokemon from the last generation. That's actually Sun and Moon for me is like the worst in terms of new Pokemon. Like there just aren't that many of them, and I don't care about most of them.
You don't like Compensation Executor?
I mean, he's great. Like Dragon Executor, fucking fantastic. That's the other thing that I love, actually. Those are the two. Those are the two that I love. The rest I'm like indifferent or negative on, I think.
I like them, but I just I think they had new, what the fuck was it? I mean, they had the Alolan forms or whatever, and that was annoying to me. And wasn't there was it was Z moves. That's it, right? That was the thing. Like there was Z moves. Yeah, so now we have Mega Evolutions, we have Z moves, and none of I dislike it. I don't like that. That's part of the busyness I was talking about earlier. Like that's just stuff. You're adding on these mechanics and like maybe instead of adding on a shit tier mechanic, you could put in more story.
No.
Or something.
I don't want them to put in more story. Their stories were actually the best when they were more minimalistic. The bigger and more epic they try to make the stories in those games, the worse it is generally.
I mean, okay, then take the designated budget for coming up with terrible features and put that money into a jar labeled Game Boy Advance Virtual Console and just save up until you got enough to bring Gen 3 out on VC. Give the people what they actually want. Horns.
No, they're too busy putting out DS games on the Wii U. Sorry, Ben.
Yeah. Actually, I was when I was looking through.
Although, just quickly, my favorite thing about the end of the Wii U's life was that after Nintendo stopped putting anything out, Konami just kept porting virtual console games. They were just like, we got these games, just fucking throw them on there.
Just do it.
There's you look at the release list, it's amazing how many, and they're not actually Konami games. They're stuff Konami has the rights to. It's really funny to me. It's just yep, Konami, they're the ones supporting the Wii U.
I was just
Sometimes with text-heavy, untranslated games.
Great. I was just talking the other day about how
Japanese.
It kind of upsets me that we got Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD on the Wii U when the Switch was coming.
Well, they didn't know the Switch was
I
coming.
feel like they knew it was coming. At a certain point, you have to know. And I don't know.
You know what would have been cool if they built in fucking backwards support. That would have been nice.
Yeah.
Digital support going forward.
No.
Fuck.
I just literally today mentioned to Peter, you know what I just want from Nintendo? I have X, Y, and Z games on Virtual Console, on 3DS. If those ever come to Switch, just, I already bought them. Let me have them. No, there's no way. There are people out there who have bought new Ocarina of Time on N64, Ocarina of Time Master Quest on GameCube, fucking Zelda Collection on GameCube, Ocarina of Time Wii Virtual Console, and then, was it on Wii U Virtual Console?
Yeah, but if you owned it on Wii, you could upgrade. I think by forsaking your Wii Virtual Console version.
Okay, so you still only had one thing of it.
You could pay a little. It was
okay, so you still had to pay.
discount.
That doesn't count.
No, yeah, you had to pay a discounted price, but
so you got that, and then Ocarina of Time 3D. How many times are you gonna make people fucking pay for it? They have accounts.
I don't know, as many as they keep
now.
buying.
But now, at a certain point, right when digital wasn't a thing, and then right before you had accounts, because on Wii and stuff you didn't have a linked ID. Now you do. So if you keep doing that, it's not necessary. It just makes you shitty.
It's garbage. Every company that doesn't carry digital purchases forward is garbage.
Oh, yeah.
It's a garbage thing to do.
It's terrible.
One of the things I liked about Nintendo handhelds was that they kept supporting the old stuff, at least one generation back. That was a good thing. That I wish they had that idea when they were doing digital stuff. I wish Sony carried forward digital stuff. Microsoft's the only one who's getting that right at all at the moment. But they only did it belatedly.
Sony also, to their credit, I know they do a lot of the, you can buy it and then you own it on, PS4 and Vita, if it was a thing on both.
Well, it was yeah. I think it was more,
was
it more of a PS3 and Vita thing? I don't remember.
Maybe.
It's
maybe PS3, yeah, that makes more sense, time-wise. But still, that's a nice, Nintendo's not going to do that. There's no way in hell that
there are
Nintendo
some
does
games that you can buy them twice, but your save will at least carry over.
On Nintendo?
No, on Sony. I know there's a Digimon game that's on PS4 and Vita, and you don't own it if you buy one version, but you can transfer your saves between the two versions if you happen to buy it twice. Yeah. That stuff's bad.
Yeah, it's just
garbage. Video games are garbage.
Video games are terrible.
Give me Gen 1 all the way only. Gen 1.
Gen 1er for life.
Gen 1 for life. I like those GBA remakes, though, of Gen 1. Those are also
I briefly played one. I played, Leaf Green or something.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, but I barely got into it. And then I don't know, something else happened. Not even oh, I lost interest, or I didn't like it, rather. But
yeah,
something else came along. It's like Skyrim. I bought Borderlands 2, and I just went back to playing Skyrim. And then later I put like 200 hours into Borderlands 2, but it took like 2 years. But I got there. I got my money's worth.
Fair enough. Yeah. The only Pokemon Ruby was the one I played the most of. That's the one I maxed the clock out. And I kept playing.
Jesus.
Although that includes falling asleep with the game on, so.
Oh, okay. So it doesn't actually count.
But I did max the clock, then keep playing. Mm-hmm. And I like how all the time stuff, all the stuff about like planting, all breaks when your clock gets too high in that game. It just stops working.
Does it?
Yeah.
You can't plant anything?
Like seeds won't grow.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That's a lot of fucking. What does it max out at? 999?
Yeah. 999.
That's a lot of fucking hours. I don't know how much time I've actually spent in Pokemon games. The only one I can remember recently is like at like 200 hours or something in X.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, X.
Damn.
I was probably around there. But like generally, it would be around 50. Is for like playing through a Pokemon game.
Mm-hmm.
I think. Although I didn't. So the big one for me was I didn't buy the Ultra Sun or Ultra Moon. That's the first one since Gen 2 that I just didn't buy. And it's because I bought Alpha Sapphire and kind of regretted it. Like I just didn't have it in me to play that one.
That's fair.
And then Sun Moon was like fine, but
too much water.
Somehow it felt much like I didn't love the playing that game in that engine for whatever reason. As much as I love the GBA games.
It's because the GBA games look great.
It's partially also because my
look.
Yeah. It's also partially because my association with the GBA games is like the mechanics of how the game worked then, with all its quirks. So playing it with like the more streamlined, better thought out, but less interesting and weird and quirky in ways I'd know is like it didn't hit the nostalgia buttons that I needed it to, because it just played like a new Pokemon game. It didn't play like that one did. So if I wanted to experience that nostalgia, I'd really rather go play that one, which is like why I like going back to Gen 1, as kind of garbage as it is in some ways. It's just because that's the mechanics of the game work differently in that game. And it's like that's fun to revisit.
Oh yeah.
Find the weird exploits. I'm just saying, balance, making everything balanced, it's bad.
That's garbage.
It's just it's a mistake. It just makes everything mediocre and lousy and boring.
Yeah.
There was a good thing with Dota 2 recently where they had a day where this thing was broken and it was down for longer than they wanted to do, so they put it back up, but there was no MMR, no match. So they're just fucking go at it.
Oh.
And like and so I was watching Purge talk about it, and Purge was saying it was the best. It was so much fun. You realize that when you have MMR, every game is hard because you have to try all the time, and just having a fuck around game was like super good. Imagine if nothing mattered and it was just chaos and nonsense and stomps and fucking all these people whining about how games need to be balanced. Fucking front page of Hot's Reddit right now. A lot of fucking whining going on. Although it's kind of deserved because Phoenix has been broken for like 2 weeks. Like, ridiculously broken.
Maev came out and like 2 days later, like, oh, we're gonna nerf Phoenix.
To be fair, they nerfed her like 8 times and she's still top tier.
Yeah. Well, no, people are upset also just with how bad hero like people are really upset that people can go in after only playing quick match or something and then place into like diamond or masters.
Yeah.
Like, newer player here. I just placed into masters with a negative win rate on my placement games. Like I went 2 and 8 and I'm in masters. Like there is bullshit going on, and I think
it's also that the the game hasn't changed since like last year. Or
Yeah.
maybe the year. Like since 2.0, it kind of hasn't had an overhaul. The way like if you compared the game to the first year we were playing it to the second year, it was fucking unbelievable how much better it was. So it's just like it has had the decay of not continuing to improve, which is a game like that. You kind of it needs to keep getting better. It can't even like just staying the same is not good enough. They haven't been improving it enough.
But for Pokemon, staying the same is good enough.
The iterative improvements of Pokemon are not. I'm getting bored of it. I gotta say.
No, yeah, for certain.
I don't know. I don't know what they could do to really get me again. I mean, honestly, putting the game on the Switch would probably be just the thing of hardware, but yeah, I don't know.
How
it might be. I might just be done with that.
Did you ever do like Coliseum or XD Gale of Darkness or whatever? Did you have any of those?
I never played the GameCube ones. I never did. I played a lot of Pokemon Battle Revolution, which doesn't have a story at all.
Oh yeah, that was the same. It was like Pokemon Stadium. Like you got to see the battles, and it was cool.
That was the game I bought a Wii for. I will say.
Nice.
I was like watching YouTube videos of Pokemon Battle Revolution fights. I was like, "What am I fucking doing? I should fucking
need this.
I need it." It's actually like the amount to which I care about this stupid thing is like ridiculous. I should get in on this. And I played a lot of it. I had a good time. Beat that final challenge thing. It was a bitch.
Yeah, I now that you'd say it, I actually don't know what would make me like super enthusiastic about Pokemon. I just don't like again in a new game. I don't like the direction they're taking. So if they continue that direction, which odds are they will, then
I mean, it's also it's a thing for kids. It's never gonna be that amazing. Like the most amazing it was with X and Y for me, where like it wasn't that was also that was in Sun and Moon even the Pokédex entries where they were just like talking about Pokemon eating other Pokemon and stuff, just like periphery stuff. Like I was super into that, but still
Kids
like
get
that
abducted.
game is just I was super in, but even then like that game's just it's okay.
Yeah.
I think part of it is also like having played Persona and like playing a real video game that uses some of those monster collecting mechanics. It's like, oh yeah, you can just play an actual video game. Yeah, I don't know.
That does seem like it was a Pokemon podcast.
Yeah, it's not ending on the highest note, but
I mean,
that's where I am with Pokemon right now.
Maybe if they did better.
Fucking shit together. Game
It
Freak.
is. It's.
I played Tembo the Badass Elephant. That game was garbage, Game Freak. Fuck you.
It does say something though that like you can still go back to the old games and have fun. Like they're very enduring.
It's true. That's true.
So they did good shit, and it, like maybe kids out there playing Sun and Moon will like feel the same way in 10 or 15 years.
Yeah,
And they'll come back and
no,
be like,
totally,
Sun and Moon
totally.
were fucking dope.
It's like I try to fight against like old man tendencies in terms of like evaluating media. It's just like, I might just be done with Pokemon. I don't know. I still think it's great. It's just not a thing that's gonna hold my attention for a long time. It's like the games are too long. Frankly. If I'm gonna grind Hero League, or play Magic or something. I don't know.
Grind out those arena wins.
Hey, I beat that fucking heroic brawl second try, so I didn't even have to grind. All right, that's a podcast.
It is.
You can email us at saltcirclepodcast@gmail.com. Find us on soundcloud.com/saltcircle. We're also on iTunes, Salt Circle Podcasts, and Stitcher, Google Play Music, various podcast repositories that pull from those sources. We're on Twitter at Salt Circle Pod, and I'm on Twitter at Comic Panels.
And I am on Twitter at bean_LP. Did we catch them all?
Tembo the Badass Elephant is a bad game. It could have been okay. Game Freak fucked up.
They fucked up? You fucked up, Game Freak.